Commissioners. My name is John Irwin from Sparta, North Carolina. And I'd like to change the subject a little bit. Your first meeting in February, you wrote off as uncollectible property taxes. It happens. There's reasons. We can't find the individuals. They died, declared bankruptcy, and some rub it in your face. I asked that a brochure be distributed to you before I got up here. It's in front of you now, in color. You wrote off $1,218 for an owner of a company that pledges $100,000 for the enterprise that I have there. He received $75,000 of Golden Leaf funds, but he can't pay his property taxes. I wondered why. And then I watched the county commissioner meeting, the last county commissioners meeting, when Commissioner Goodrow asked Rita Miller about procedures. I'd like to quote Miss Miller. We don't have a standard. We don't have a formal collections procedure. It's very understandable why we can't collect property taxes on individuals that state that they have the income to pay them. We don't have procedures. We have a county manager that has been county manager as the second highest paid county employee for 15 years. And we cannot establish procedures to collect money owed to this county. We have 3 commissioners that have been on the Board of Commissioners for approximately 30 months. But this is not something that we need to be concerned about, apparently. Which would explain why a county commissioner can vote to write off as uncollectible an employer's property tax and be listed as the treasurer of the fund that he has pledged $100,000 to. The wolf is in the chicken house. Doesn't look too good for the chickens or the taxpayers of Allegheny County. Are we going to establish procedures before we write off, at the present time, $1,671.70? That will come up next year. For the widows that come in every month and pay what they can on their property tax so that their names will not appear in the paper, that's a slap in the face. Why didn't you publish the names of the people that you wrote off their taxes? Let's go back taxes. Every year, whenever you publish the back property taxes, publish all of them going back for 10 years. Let the public know who is not paying their taxes. In support of the Second Amendment that Commissioner Goodrow has put before this board, I heard a commissioner make this statement. Who's trying to take your gun? The first thing you have to do before you confiscate, you better know who's got it so that you know where to go. And I was wondering if what else I could say, and then I found the perfect means. It's from Chet Nagel. He's a Navy Academy graduate, a Georgetown Law School graduate, and a Cold War carrier pilot who flew off carriers during the Cuban Missile Crisis. After a stint as a Navy Research Project Officer, he joined the International Society of International Security Affairs as a Pentagon civilian involved in defense and intelligence work. Afterwards, he lived abroad for 12 years, working with Aero Maritime Incorporated and as an agent for the CIA, spending time in Iran, Oman, and many other countries. It's not the bullets, baby. In 2008, Candidate Obama said we cannot continue to rely on our military in order to achieve the national security directives we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that is just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded. Listen to it. After he was elected in 2008, President Obama never again mentioned his national security objectives or the National Security Force he wanted to create. Was that 2008 statement just an applause line? Not really, citizens, not really. The President has never again mentioned his National Security Force or his national security objectives, and because mainstream media has never questioned him, Americans have two choices: forget it and trust the White House, or examine actions of the Obama administration over the past 5 years. If we look closely, a pattern emerges. To begin, there are those massive Department of Homeland Security, DHS, ammunition buys. One contract is for 450 million rounds, according to the ammo company ATK. With just this one contract, DHS buys 90 million rounds per year of .40 caliber pistol ammo. There are other contracts, some with parts blacked out by DHS, but that cover ammunition for 9mm pistols, shotguns, .308 caliber sniper rifles, and other weapons. These ammunition contracts surfaced last year, and some analysts calculate the total to exceed 1.6 billion rounds. Their website's laced with links to the DHS ammo contracts. The official explanation for these contracts is that DHS agents need the bullets for mandatory quarterly firearms qualification and other training sessions. No mention is given for the bullets that have excessive and powerful hollow points that are not used for target practice, and no explanation for the sniper rifle ammunition. Interestingly, a comparison of these amounts with records of ammunition used by U.S. forces in battle in Iraq, 5.5 million rounds per year, gives a rough calculation that DHS has enough ammo to fight a 30-year war. Since DHS does not operate in Iraq, who is the enemy in America they plan to shoot? There are many other DHS contracts for things like armored fighting vehicles. As Dennis said, they've just bought 2,700 MRAPs. Bulletproof boosts for street checkpoints, bulletproof vests, riot gear, 7,000 fully automatic AR-15 rifles, and over $30 billion in grants to cooperating local police forces for military-style equipment. In 2011, the DHS budget was $98.8 billion, but they spent over $66.4 billion. Then there are those vital internet rumors about internment camps. Before you think right-wing extremist propaganda, remember those 110,000 Japanese American citizens in 1941. By executive order of President Roosevelt, they spent 4 years in relocation camps built in rural areas from the Mississippi to Hawaii. Even Canada, our very liberal northern neighbor, uprooted 27,000 Japanese Canadians from their homes and scattered them into 22 camps across western Canada. Of course, it can't happen here. Nevertheless, KBR, you know them, a subsidiary of Halliburton, Kellogg Brute and Round, is soliciting support teams for Federal Emergency Management Agency camps. The KBR description document is for services for the camps in 5 FEMA regions of the United States. And the U.S. Army has issued a 326-page manual, Internment and Resettlement Operations. It might be just a manual for Army camps holding foreign prisoners of war, except there's a section under Civil Support Operations and how the Army will handle the DCs, that is, dislocated citizens. It details how psychological operation officers will reduce or remove antagonistic attitudes, including muffling, also known as gagging, agitators. The manual clearly states it applies within the U.S. and its territories, and that the Posse Comitatus Act, prohibiting U.S. soldiers as a police force in America, can be sidestepped by the President invoking his executive authority. Some argue President Obama and DHS will not ignore constitutional limits on the authority. They are wrong. For example, the Fourth Amendment guarantees the people have a right to be secure in their persons, homes, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. And a warrant is required that describes the place, person, or thing to be seized. The Obama administration does not need no stinking warrants. Instead, DHS states that if you live within 100 miles of a U.S. international border, DHS can seize and search all your electronic devices, including cell phones, tablets, laptops, without probable cause or warrant. They call it Border Security Search Zone. This search zone includes the entire states of Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Hawaii, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Rhode Island, plus large parts of New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Take them to court, you say? It might be difficult to do after you are arrested under the provisions of the 2012 National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, and denied habeas corpus and a public trial before a jury of your peers. Rob Nadelson, former professor of law at the University of Montana, has written a masterful analysis of how Congress surrendered the right to due process to President Obama, giving him power under the NDAA to detain American citizens indefinitely. Now look at the President's executive order. On March the 16th, 2012, President Obama issued EO, National Defense Resources Preparedness. It states the President can seize all the resources in the nation, food, water, transportation, etc., to promote the national defense and other undefined phrases. On 6 July 2012, this power was combined with the executive order, assignment of national security and emergency preparedness communications functions that gives DHS the power to control the internet to satisfy priority communications requirements through the use of commercial, government, and privately owned communications resources, when appropriate. The words when appropriate are not defined. As I stand here as a retired member of the military, by DHS's standard, I am a potential terrorist and could be subject to arrest at any time. That's fine. But when they knock on your door, you remember one thing. When they knocked on the door of the German Jews, they never had a weapon to defend themselves. They just marched into the ovens.
Anyone else?